Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Isa. I'm in the United States Air Force and I'm currently stationed in Okinawa, Japan. And I'm so excited to make today's video because I'm talking about my job. I know, everybody's been asking me about it, and I'm finally here to tell you what I do in the Air Force. So, what do? I am maintenance management production. Yay! And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I have never seen anybody talk about this job. Like when I was joining the Air Force, like everybody else, I was looking up a million videos. I never found this. So here I am. I'm making the video for anybody who's curious. Maybe you're joining the Air Force and you're curious about this job. Maybe you're already in maintenance, or just someone that wants to know behind the scenes of what happens in the maintenance world. This video is for you. I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea what this job was about before joining the military. I talked about it in my 2 years in the military video, but I just remember my recruiter texting me, telling me the job, and I'm sitting here looking up anything I can, and all I have is a very brief description from the Air Force website. And I just had a gut feeling that I should take it. And almost 3 years later, here we are, and now I'm here telling you about my job. So when I joined, I came in as 2R1X1, which is still maintenance management production, but I have a counterpart who was a separate job at the time. They were maintenance management analysis and they were 2R0X1. But as of late 2023, they merged their jobs together, making us 2R2X1. 2 or 2 X0. It's one of those. I don't remember which one it is. If you look up either of those jobs, you're still going to find our separate jobs together, but just know that they are now interchangeable and you come in, you're just a broad maintenance management production and you can be placed in either section. So, what is maintenance management production? Basically, we are the bridge between maintenance and leadership. We work directly with production and we don't turn wrenches, but we also don't sit behind a desk all day doing nothing. There's a lot of moving parts that go into our job. And when my career field, when we talk about different positions that you can be in, you fall under two categories: scheduling or analysis. In the scheduling world, it can be broken down to many different positions. One was going to be wing documentation, which can also be broken down to TCI and TCTO monitor. But essentially, the individual is responsible for overseeing all AMUs, which stands for aircraft maintenance units, documentations, and assisting as needed, just making sure everything's good and nothing's going overdue or life threatening. You also have wing scheduling or like wing scheduler, however they want to word it. It's typically NCO and higher, and they are responsible for checking all the AMU schedules and then handling all wing scheduling that matters. So they are the bridge between the AMUs and the wing when it comes to handling the schedules. You have the AMUs. You have the AMU scheduler who is responsible for making that aircraft maintenance unit schedule, rather it be the KC-135s, the E3s, the HA-60s. They will be making their maintenance and flying schedule and then also handling all other scheduling related matters, and that's typically filled by an airman basic to a senior airman. You have your AMU documentation, which is typically filled by an A1C to a senior airman, and they are the aircraft maintenance unit designated documentation person. So they are going over everything documentation wise for these aircrafts and making sure nothing is overdue or life threatening. And then lastly, we have engine management. Basically, they do the same thing as AMUs before the engines themselves, because engines are just so intensive. Like they have so many different parts that it would just be too much to have an AMU scheduler track the aircraft itself and the engine. So we have a whole different section called engine management that deals with the engines. I mentioned before that I came in as a scheduler, a 2R1X1. So I have never been put in a position as of yet to be analysis, but I do know generally what they do. So I'll tell you guys because you could be an analysis if you join this career field. So you have your wing analysis. They will look over the AMUs, make sure all their stuff is good, and when there's HHQ taskings, higher headquarters taskings, it goes to the wing analysis and they deal with it or they distribute it to who it needs to go to. And then you have your AMU analysis, which, like the scheduler, but for analysis things, which I say that, but like I know what they do, but I just don't know the proper verbiage for what they do. Basically, you're just looking over all the flying and maintenance history Analysis works a lot with history. They're not really doing anything that's going to be happening at that exact moment, if that makes sense. And then you have your DBM, which stands for Database Manager. And they are the ones who are responsible for giving all maintainers, including us, because we're technically maintainers too, but anybody who has IMDS or Geo81 access, or if you're on a different base and you use like Alice, there's like a bunch of different systems you can use. Whenever there's a system for maintainers, my people are the one that is giving them the rights. So they're responsible for making their accounts and giving them the profiles to make sure they're doing everything they need to do. Analysis, it's a bit more broad than scheduling because they have more they can cover and they can do, while scheduling is very like, you do this, you do this, you do this. But when I explain my job to people, I explain it like this. I say scheduling is the future, documentation is the present, and analysis is the past. And the reason why is like when you're a scheduler, your whole job is to just make schedules, but you don't make schedules for the current week. You make schedules for the future. Rather, that's 1 week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 months from now. You're living in the future. I remember when I was a scheduler, like it would trip me up because I was already thinking like 2, 3 months ahead, and somebody would say a date, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's the 21st, or like that's next week. I'll be like, oh, you're right, because in my mind, I'm already working like on next week's schedule. And then at documentation, it was a lot more present. Yes, you're looking at stuff in the past, but you're looking at things that are currently happening and then going back to the past as needed, but it's all deals with the current present. And then analysis, they're basically our maintenance detectives. Like when stuff goes wrong, they're the ones that's going back. Like when they get those HHQ taskings, it could be, for example, just say like a certain bolt keeps breaking. So they can go back and be like, huh, like how many times has this bolt broken on this aircraft? Does it affect all of our aircraft on this base? And even then, they could be like, does it affect our whole fleet? And they can reach out to other bases. So they can go in a lot more detail and they just look at all the history of things that has happened for the aircraft. What I do day to day just depends on what position I'm in. In my time in the Air Force, I have filled multiple different positions within my career field. I've been AMU scheduler, I've been AMU documentation, I've been wing documentation, and I am now engine management. But essentially, you're tracking aircraft forms, you're briefing leadership, you're talking to the different maintenance shops, you're giving updates to the schedule, and overall, like my job just deals with like a lot of communication, so you have to be able to know what's happening, what's delayed, what's late, and why, and be able to communicate that clearly and confidently to leadership. One thing that a lot of people don't realize about maintenance management production is that we are responsible for a lot of things. We have a lot of responsibility. The information that we provide to leadership affects mission success, mission priority, like maintenance priority, and people's lives. If we do not give accurate information, especially on the documentation side, people can die. I don't know if I've already mentioned this in the video, but we also go as PSND, which is plan, scheduling, and documentation. And there's a saying that if it's in the air, PSND put it there. And that's because we hold a lot of power when it comes to our aircrafts. We make the schedules, we choose what gets done, when it gets done, what can't get done. We even have the power to ground aircraft. So, say something's overdue, and we're like, no, that is life threatening. Someone can die if you fly that aircraft. We have the power to tell production, to tell ops to be like, you're not flying that aircraft. That's why attention to detail and like knowing what you're doing is very important in this job. Because if your information is wrong, outdated, or unclear, it can cause a lot of real world problems. I will be making a video going into more pros and more cons and giving you context and details, but for now, I'll tell you a couple pros and cons. So some pros is you get exposed to leadership very, very early. Like I'm talking Airman Basic through A1C, you are sitting at a table briefing in '04 to an '06 on your schedule that you made. So you learn very quickly how to present, how to make stuff, and then how to just basically be able to present your information clearly and confidently. With that, it also makes strong coordination and communication skills. And of course, like any job, we're not perfect. So some of the cons is this job can be very high pressure. And we are the messenger between the shops, the maintenance shops, production, and leadership. So basically, we're the middleman a lot of the times. And when things go wrong, people are very quick. People, I mean, production, I'm calling out production. They will just blame us.
I can't even. Oh my god.
And sometimes we're able to fight it, and sometimes we just have to take the blame for it. You don't really get in trouble that much, but we are the easy way out for certain situations. So we get blamed a lot, but we're not bad. We're not bad at all. We're not always popular. Like I said, we have a lot of power, and even as like an airman basic, or an A1C, if something is wrong, you have a lot of power. And some people don't always like that. So we're not always popular, but we are very necessary and very essential to the mission. What I wish I knew before joining. I would say that much confidence matters. Like I was mentioning earlier, you'll be like an Airman Basic or A1C, and you have to stand up to senior NCOs. Like we only work with senior NCOs and above. We don't work with anybody below. Yes, we can talk to techs and stuff sometimes when we need to talk to individual shops, but we are working with production, and production is typically master sergeants and above, and leadership is literally like group leadership. We don't work with lower ranks, so it can be a little challenging sometimes when you're fresh in the Air Force and you have to put your foot down for this matter. 'Cause it is your job to do that, and you have to stand up to a master sergeant. So confidence matters. Like, don't be arrogant, but like, if you know you're right, stand by it. And like, your people are going to back you up too. Like, you're just not going to be like high and dry, but you can't just roll over and like let them do whatever they want. And I know I mentioned a lot that like what we do is very important, and people can die if we don't do our job correctly, but I don't want that to scare you guys because we're all learning. Like, you ask questions, there's so many checks. You're not the only one checking your work. Like, there's a bunch of other people that will check your work. So if you have questions, ask it, learn, and it's okay if you mess up. Just learn from your mistakes and keep going. I personally don't think my job is hard at all. I actually really like it. I find fulfillment in it, especially when I was a scheduler and I made that schedule and I was like, yeah, that's my schedule. Because see it, like you're literally making the maintenance for every single day. You're making the flying. So it's cool. And then it goes up to the wing and like the general will sign it. So it's pretty cool. And I've had a lot of accomplishments so far in this career field, and I'm proud of what I do. I'm proud to serve the Air Force, and I'm very happy with what I'm doing. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys have any other questions about maintenance management production, don't hesitate to drop a comment down below. Don't forget that I will be making another video going into pros and cons in more details with more context. I'll be talking more about my job and going more in depth. This is just a general overview because there's just so much that goes into my job, but this is a really good basis to it. And I will also have my TikTok and Instagram linked down below along with my Amazon storefront. And with that, I will see y'all next time.